Alright guys, so in last video you saw that we got the axle dump done and a bunch of little things done. I still haven't figured out how to get all this shit off. I was recommended a method, it did not work. But in this video we're going to be getting a lot of the other stuff. I got the auxiliary tank installed, so I will need to tighten that filter down. But besides that, that's all installed. This guy's all good. I just need to wire it up. You guys can see the wiring right there. So I have it kind of like temporarily mounted there because we are going to pull it forward as soon as we get the new the stack installed. So there's a transfer case. For some reason nobody wants an electronic transfer case. And we're going to start chowing down on a list today. And then once we're done with that, should have Josh's truck coming in today at some point as well. All right, let's start. Oh yeah, I was told to ask you guys if anybody wants this setup here. He's asking 150 bucks if you guys are interested in a factory turbo. And downpipe, whole set, HX35W is what it looks like. 150 bucks, you can have the whole thing. Alright, so I was going through this thing, right? And I'm wiring in the new, or well, the old aux tank and shit. And I was like, something looks fishy here. And I realized, I'm like, these battery terminals are backwards. And I'm looking, I'm like, no, that's positive, that's negative. I'm like, this is supposed to be over here, and this is supposed to be over here. And I look even more, and I'm like, that's not the right battery. So, let's go check the other side. The other side was fine, so they're not the same battery. But, I can't tell on the sticker if that's the right battery or not. I mean, who knows? This is supposed to go down under and through. So I'm gonna have to lengthen that. See, I'm gonna go to the yard, grab my brand new batteries. I'm gonna throw the new batteries in here. We'll grab the grill as well. I gotta see what we need for that. I'm gonna get this truck cleaned out, and then I gotta put a fuse in there. So then we should have aux and everything back here. You guys will see. This goes into here, to the positive and negative, and then this pump here is run to a positive and a ground right there, and it's fused, so it's double fused. One fuse at the front, and then there's 6 fuses in here for everything. So this has its own fuse, which we're gonna redo that air compressor setup at some point. I'd be surprised if this still worked, but I guess we'll see at some point. But I need to go grab my hose reels and all that, which are probably in the shop here somewhere. But like I said, I'll start doing that. I had to throw the RTV up here because so many people told me, oh, don't wire those into the reverse light back here. And honestly, guys, it works. I know a lot of people who have told me that it works for years. I understand people's concerns, but you're not going to burn that switch out in the dash. And if you do, they're not expensive. But at the same time, it's like, I've been running them like that forever. I know guys have been running them like that forever. So I'm not super worried about it. You know, I said that I probably wasn't going to run this truck for hotshot. And honestly, if work comes in for it, I'm going to do it just because, I mean, I think it'll make good content for one. But if loads come in and they're going to pay, I'll try to run this truck and see what happens. Guys want to doubt the 22x12s. I'm going to do it again. I ran my old setup with 20x12s. And I ran that for about 40,000 miles before we dually swapped it. And I got a blowout because I didn't check my tire pressure in like 40,000 miles. I was pulling a 21,000 pound gooseneck. But I really do think this thing's coming out pretty nicely. This thing's looking pretty sick. And also, if you guys notice, the wheel is like in a little bit. That's because it's 4-inch lift, and the control arms, they're not factory, or they are the factory control arms on a 4-inch lift. You can really see it over here. So I need to go grab some new control arms, which I will do, not a problem. All right, I left and I made some changes, and I'm gonna show you what they are. Look at that. Nice new grill. And see that guy down there? I went and grabbed a steering brace for it. And we fixed the batteries. So I went and got 2 new batteries. There they are. Didn't cost me a dime. I had them in stock. And the new battery hold downs and all that, so these aren't going anywhere. But that was the issue. So that battery was like physically bigger but smaller in length. and it was like this terminal was like the terminals were switched, so that was weird. But yeah, that's the correct battery that's supposed to be in them, 65 series. So we got those done. We are waiting on my dad to bring the scan tool. He has the really nice one. It's really nice, you know. It's the $5,000 Snap-on box that I can plug this in and I can check rail pressure and I can check all the other bullshit. So at some point we're gonna start burning some of this stuff. I have to throw some stuff in there, but there you go. Let me know what you guys think of the new grill. But once he gets here, I'll be able to scan that. I think I slept a total of 2 hours last night before we went to the gym. So I'm pretty beat. I'm gonna try to get today done and over with as quick as possible. Then I gotta go again tonight, like 1 in the morning. So it's, yeah, my Wednesdays and Thursdays are always tiring. All right, so with installing that, we have this guy here. So you guys will see I took the nut off, and then this threads onto that. I need to go get the washer for it, but basically this, you can see where the wear mark is at right here in the center. So that bearing, which I'll show you here in a little bit, is what's gonna ride on that. So I just need to make sure it's gonna screw in first, because I've been fighting it a little bit. I had to clean the thread. There we go. There's a little thing right there in the top. I had to break that off. Broke the washer a little bit. So I'm gonna go clean it up. This was covered in oil. You can see it is not pretty. So just clean it up, all of that stuff, and we'll throw it on nice and pretty. You can never be too tight with these, so it comes with this little washer here. That'll sit on there. If you guys are interested, every truck with big tires needs this part. It needs this part because it helps stabilize the steering box, which if you have a Dodge, you know how the Dodges are. So get yourself one of these. They're not super expensive either. So we'll screw this on here like this. And you don't need any special tools to do this. I used a crescent wrench. That's all I did. And I just torqued it down as hard as I could. So right there is about it. Here's the nut that came off it originally. I'm gonna go throw this back on the black truck, which I need to get the engine out of that at some point. Oh, there's the crescent wrench. It was right in front of me. I need to get the engine out of the black truck at some point so that the guy can come and get his truck. But all I use is this, and you can get it pretty damn tight with this. I never had one fall off, and I ran mine for a while. At least 100 some, if not 200,000 miles. This will significantly get rid of play in your steering. Alright, so here is the piece. So basically, my truck didn't have sway bars when I bought it, my other truck. So these are the bolts they come with. And that's what I'm going to use because that's what they came with. But I was just cleaning it off. I did set it on fire just to kind of try to see if I couldn't burn all the old grease out. Just burning all the old grease out, getting some of that oil easier to remove. Makes life a little bit easier, and I'm using less brake clean because I'm just letting it, I can wipe it off. I mean, it's not like I didn't buy it anyway, but get all that old grease out, and I can put more grease in. There's a bearing here, so this piece is replaceable. It's greasable right there. So, like I said, we're gonna drop the sway bar and get this thing slapped up in with these new bolts and see how that goes. Make sure I figure out what size these are, because you don't need a lot of knowledge. Like, it doesn't, I think a monkey could install this thing. It's not too bad. The only hard part is trying to hold it up while it's under there. Sway bar has been dropped. So now we're gonna get the other thing up in place. You can see right there is where they go. Thor has arrived. So I've never actually gotten to do one of these with a sway bar installed, and I forgot how much of a pain in the ass it is. You don't just drop the sway bar. You have to put the sway bar, first of all, this goes before the sway bar, but under the sway bar over here. So you're holding all of this up by yourself unless you got a jack. So all the bolts are in, everything's tight. I just need to throw some grease in the bearing and eat some McDonald's. And this will be done. All right, before we pull his in, I got my air stuff up there, and the hitch, I dropped it down because that trailer literally sat like that. So I'll probably have to hook it up and repark it, but at some point. Josh, you want to get this off for me?
Yeah. How do I do it?
I don't know. He told me to take a valve stem, put it backwards in your drill, and then just rub it at a 45-degree angle. I can tell you that just makes a mess.
I thought he was telling you about getting bolts out.
No. Yeah, that made a mess. So other than that, I gotta figure out what to do with this stuff. Fifth wheel adapter. I forget where I got that. I'm sure someone gave it to me. And this T-case need to go. Josh, carry that T-case out. Throw your back out. Be a man.
What is that way?
I don't know. Just be careful with it because that electronic motor can break.
Where?
On the side. Goodness gracious. All right, take it in the shop somewhere. Just put it where it like makes, oh my God.
No, I'm not jumping on my knees with this.
Yeah, you're just lucky there's no fluid in it because right now it would be pissing all over you. Actually, Josh, you know what? Set it right here. Just set it under the ladder. Just don't break it. There you go. And not only that, but I have the rear seal for it. Like, I had fluid for it too, but I had to use it on a customer vehicle, so I was like, I already had the fluid, so whatever. But seriously, I'm gonna cover this up, but if anybody wants it, 500 firm. That's what I paid for it from C&P Auto.
For that long.
I've had it since before I gutted my four-wheel drive. I bought that from Kenny for 500 bucks, thinking I needed a T-case. Here, I forget what it was. I forget what it was. And now I have this transfer case, and nobody seems interested in it, but they're $1,200 new. I'm like, 500 bucks, just someone come and get it. And someone come get this. I don't know if I'm going to, well, I have to get a fifth wheel hitch at some point, but I don't know if I'm going to run fifth wheel like I usually do. I do kind of like this setup. And if I run a fifth wheel, that's going to come forward even more because of a stack at some point.
I think you've had this debate with yourself many times. I think you're going to end up with the fifth wheel.
Well, the problem is, it's if I can fit it, sure. If it doesn't fit, I can't go with the fifth wheel. Because if I put a 6-inch stack behind that, and I have to pull it forward 6 inches, or back 6 inches, and it kills the fifth wheel space, then I can't. But yeah, that's, I don't know, that's for sale. That's a beefy unit, too. I use that on my Kaufman.